What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Danny K here, back with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. But if you are returning, welcome back. And welcome to part 2 of my Getting to Know Me series. I know it's been 2 weeks, y'all. But I'm telling y'all, life really be kicking my ass. Like, it's really not enough time in the day for me to get everything that I need to get done and then try to do a voiceover. And because I don't really want to make this series too long, which I probably will have to, because I know most of y'all probably not going to look at the whole hour-long video. You should, though. I advise you to do that in your spare time. Just go ahead and watch it. I promise you're going to love it. But yeah, I don't think you guys are going to sit for the whole hour, but nonetheless, let's get into it. So I'm not going to really talk too much about the nails, but I am going to say a few things. So right now I'm doing like a under the nails spider design. And then I'm going to cover that with Bomb Nails Casper glow in the dark acrylic. I also use Bomb Nails a new glow in the dark. I can't remember which one it is. Because it's not in front of me, y'all. So I'll pop it on the screen or you'll see it in the video. But yeah, so where did we leave off at? So we left off at me talking about the beginning of my teenage years, me moving up Alany, me meeting my bestie, and I was supposed to insert her picture in the last video. I didn't, but I'm going to insert the pictures of my best friends. But yeah, so like I said, when I got up Alany, in the beginning, I wasn't like going outside like that because I was a phone person. And like I said, back in the day, we used to have one ways. Before they had two ways, we had one ways. Yo, I used to be on the phone so freaking much that people used to have to do emergency breakthrough. They used to have to call the number and say such and such is trying to do an emergency breakthrough to get through to the line because we only had one line. Like all the time, y'all. It used to be horrible. But, excuse me. Sorry, y'all. It is literally 4:11 p.m., but I'm so freaking tired. I had a long weekend, and today at work was just long. But anyway, so when I used to get on punishment at work, Lord have mercy. When I used to get on punishment at school, my dad used to take the phone from me. So what I would do is I started going outside. Y'all, if somebody would have told me outside was lit like that, I would have been outside. Y'all don't even understand, like, at that age, at like 14, 15, and you finally go outside. Like, I was going to the rec center every day because guess what? It was the niggas was out there. Yes, the guys was outside. The guys was outside. People was just having fun. And I was like, damn, I've been sitting in the house all cooped up on the phone all damn day, and this is what I'm missing, girl. Y'all, I never looked back. Never looked back, y'all. Like, at all. But high school was cool. So what I will say is I didn't finish high school on time. So the school that I went to was basically the neighborhood high school, and not only did everybody that went to that school, they lived in the neighborhood. We used to go to the same middle school. It was a big ass distraction because I want to go to a school where I don't know nobody. I'm not really big on making new friends, so it would have been a little bit more easier for me to just focus on my schoolwork versus focus on chilling with my friends in school because none of us had the same classes. None of us had the same classes, and none of us had the same lunch. So I used to go to their lunches all the time. All the time. My lunch and theirs. 4th, 5th, and 6th. I was going. Fourth lunch, fifth lunch, and sixth lunch, I was going. Unless they was being like extra, like having security where they'll know if it's your lunch or not, or whatever the case may be. I was going to every lunch. It was horrible. So I stopped. Excuse me, y'all. I stopped going to school in 11th grade. And, as my dad being a single parent of, I'm going to say 2 kids, because my baby sister, her mom and my dad is still together to this day. So, but him being a single dad of basically me and my older brother, and him having to go to work every day, like he leaving out the house at like 6:00 in the morning, no later than 6:15 to go to work. We don't gotta be to school till like 8:30. So he really had no control over like where I was going, what I was doing. To his knowledge, he thought I was going to school. So he was just like, listen, I gotta go to work every day. I can't make you go to school. But he said, what you're gonna do, you're either gonna go to school or you're gonna get a job. Like, you're not just gonna be sitting around here doing nothing. That's dead. I mean, and as bad as he didn't want to have to give me that option, again, and the only way he was making me go to school if he was literally sitting in the class with me, to be honest. And I told my dad, I was like, honestly, I just want to get transferred. I can't really tell you why he never transferred me. Maybe he just like, he didn't feel like doing all of that. I don't know. I never really asked. But when he gave me the option, I told him to get a job, to be honest. And this was like 2000 maybe. Like 99, 2000 probably. Yeah, this was like 99, 2000. So I was already working. I was working at McDonald's already, part-time, because I was a student. But after a while, I just was like, I just rather work full-time. So I said, well, I'm just going to work. Stop going to school and everything. But FYI, I did go back and finish. So let's start there. I did go back and finish. It took me about 7 years to finish, because, and I'm going to tell y'all why I say 7 years. I think I was like 26 when I finally did finish. But I say that because in the midst of that, I did try like different programs to finish school, but none of it was stimulating my brain. One thing about me, I have real bad, I don't know if it's ADHD, whatever, because I don't be diagnosing myself with a lot of stuff, but I know a lot of things that I do have, is in the lines of that. But I get bored fast, y'all. I promise you. Like right now, I could be doing one thing and just automatically forget that I'm doing that and start doing something else. Especially if it's not piquing my interest. Like, I get bored fast. It's a real bad habit of mine. So I'm trying to figure out a way for me to stay focused on one thing at a time. Because if I don't, I'm never going to get things done. And this is why I'm such a big procrastinator. I'm working on that. It's just a lot of things that I probably should have nipped in the bud before I got to the age of 40. But hey, you live and you learn. Well, we're here now, so I'm going to fix it now. But anyway, so where we at? Stop going to school. So at this time, I'm around 17 probably. Now, mind you, in the midst of that, my aunt had moved from down North Philly, and she moved up Logan. So once I started high school, I started going to her house every weekend. Yo, when I say every weekend, I was going there. Once I learned how to catch the bus, because at first my dad wasn't letting me take the bus by myself. But I was like, come on, Dad, I'm in high school now. You should just let me go ahead and catch the bus. Child, please. As soon as I learned how to get to my house, it was a wrap from there. Like, to the point where as though all my friends that I made down there, that I'm still friends with to this day, been friends with them for 30 years. But all the friends that I met down there, Y'all, they thought I lived down there. They literally thought I lived on that block because that's how much I was over there. But I didn't. I used to go down there every weekend, love that block, love everybody around there. Like, we had such good times around there. But that's where I met my very first boyfriend. The one who took my virginity. My very first boyfriend. That's where I met him at. On that block. He used to live across the street from my aunt. And we still talk to this day, periodically. I think he married or he got a girlfriend. I don't freaking know. But anyway, we cool. Me and his sister been friends for over 30 years. So, shit, I've been friends with him for over 30 years. Like, we've been friends since kids. So, I only talk to him on Facebook. We do not talk on the phone. But, like, on social media, we check up on each other. Hey, how you doing? What you been up to? Blah, blah, blah. And that'd be that. It don't be nothing like that. But anyway, so, I'm going to skip a lot because there's not really too much to tell. But I was kind of a normal kid. Definitely was, I don't know if I want to say low class. I would say in between middle and low class. But here's my thing. I never, even when I was younger, like I shopped at the Gap. My dad used to buy me stuff from the Gap and things like that. Like the Gap was really popular when I was a kid. So that was like name brand for us. Sergio Valente, like all of that stuff I wore. Like Gucci and all of that was not popular. None of that shit was popular. It was like Sergio Valente, what else? Sean John, Baby Fat, Apple Bottom. All of that stuff was more of our name brand stuff. Coogee, things like that. I wore that stuff. So I would not say that I was in the low class. I would say I was in middle class. But and most of that stuff I bought for myself because I had a job. Like once I got a job, I kind of just, made sure I had what I wanted. My dad made sure I had what I wanted, and I made sure I had what I wanted. My dad made sure he provided what I needed. So, I spent a lot of time down Logan, down my aunt's house. Like all the time, I was never home. My dad was never really home because my stepmom didn't live with us. My dad is one of them people. Like, I am very much my dad's twin, okay? Everything my dad does, I do the same stuff. Big procrastinator. Very low attention span. Always stay to himself. He's a Capricorn. Stay to himself a lot. Like, my dad used to go to my stepmom's house on the weekends. My dad had his own house. Like, and it was like that for years. Like, my dad literally... So, from the time I was 13 up until I was 30-something, my dad lived in that house. And he would go over my stepmom's house on the weekends and go home during the week. Crazy, right? Yeah, crazy. But, so, let's see. Up in my teen years, like I said, I had a boyfriend, 14. Definitely lost my virginity at 14. Like, and y'all, it wasn't even like, I literally planned that. Like, I was like, when I get in high school, I'm just going to have sex with my boyfriend. I don't know why, but that's some, at 14, people that has, did stuff way before 14. But once I got in high school, I was just like, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do when I get into high school. And it didn't happen right away. It took a minute. But that was my boyfriend. We was boyfriend and girlfriend since we was like 12. So by the time I was 15, what was it, 14 or 15, something like that, And I think he definitely wasn't no virgin because I think he's 2 years older than me. But, yeah, he is 2 years older than me. Him and my brother the same age. But, yeah, 14, 15, I lost my virginity. And like I said, even though I wasn't in school, I was working all the time, y'all. I partied a lot. Like, at my age, at 16, 17, or 17, 18, I would say, I was going to the bars. Like, I carried myself way more mature than what the average 17 or 18-year-old would carry themselves. So when I went to the bar, I never got carded. Like, never got carded. Now, the people I used to bring with me, they used to get carded. So most of the time we couldn't get in the bar. And then sometimes, the security knew me. So sometimes they'll let that shit slide, like, all right, go ahead, or whatever. Just act like you showing ID or whatever the case may be. And we go about our ways. But I always carried myself more mature. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. One thing I will always say was you can ask my mom or my dad. I was not a bad kid. I was just a kid that did what she was told, but also wanted to do what she wanted to do. Plain and simple. Like, I never disobeyed, my parents. Well, I wouldn't even say my mom because she wasn't around, but my dad told me to do something, I did it. Now, the crazy part is, a lot of times when I got in trouble, it really wasn't my fault. It just, circumstances, just certain things happened to where as though, like, at one point, I got home late. Like, me and my best friend went to the skating ring. The skating ring closed at 11. Now, it's packed, so it ain't that many buses that it's only one bus that'll get you, back to the air to where we lived at. And then we had to take another bus that would take us to the bus that we took from the skating ring would take us to the terminal. And we would technically have to walk to her house. But it was fine because usually we'll get out the skating ring like 10, 11 o'clock, take the bus. But when the bus is super crowded, they'll close the doors on you. And this particular day, not only did they not let us on a bus, but my cousin was with us. And I had something on that had no pocket. So she had my bus fare in her pocket, y'all. In her pocketbook, y'all. And her dumb ass got on the bus. Why the fuck would you, excuse my language, why would you get on the bus with my stuff? So that particular night, and mind you, our parents knew we used to cut school together. So because we used to cut school together all the time, and we was just like two peas in a pie, and this is my other best friend. But I'm going to show you pictures of all three of them. But because we was two peas in a pod, they just automatically thought we was outside scheming, and we really wasn't. This was one of them times where we literally didn't have no money to call nobody. And back in the day, you can't call your parents collect. They ain't answering that. They is not answering no collect calls. We had no change to call nobody. Nobody was answering or collect calls. Like, it was horrible. And we wound up getting in so much trouble because we literally did not get home till after 12 o'clock. Because once we had got to the terminal, we still had to walk like 20, 25 minutes to her house, to my best friend's house. So by the time we got to her house, child, her mom was the fuck fuming, y'all. Her mom was fuming. She wound up calling my dad. We don't know how she found my dad's number to call, or my house number to call my dad. Yo, it was a hot mess. But like I said, I wasn't a bad kid. I just kind of did, things that I wanted to do. Now, as I got older, I did some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. We're not going to get into that because I don't know if it's a statute of limitations on that stuff. So, I'm not going to sit up here and incriminate myself. I'm just going to say, at a young age, I did a lot of things that I should not have been doing. Now, what I will say is I ain't never sold no coochie. Let's just put that out there. Never been on crack, heroin, powder, none of that stuff. Let's just put that out there. But, as a kid who, just see a lot of things, you just kind of, let me see if I could do that and get away with it. And I did. I got away with a lot. And I'm not bragging on that, but like, I thank God every day that I just never got caught doing the things that I was doing. And, I'm still here. Like, I honestly believe when I go through things in life, I feel like a lot of stuff might be kind of my karma. And the crazy part is I don't really believe in karma, y'all. and hear me out, because I feel like because it's a lot of people out here that has had bad stuff happen to them, and they've done nothing bad to anybody. So how is that karma? That wouldn't be karma. So I just feel like, when bad people do bad things to good people and then stuff happen to them, a lot of times I just feel like it's really just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that happened. But, of course, saying that they got their karma just feels better. But I don't really believe in karma. But at that age, as I got older, believing that, when you do bad, karma comes, full circle. I just felt like my life just never got the way I wanted it to because of the things that I did when I was younger. And y'all, it had, like, I literally didn't harm anyone. So, and I want to put that out there. Never harmed a person in my life. I maybe fought a little bit. I had fights. Yes, absolutely. I think we all did. Or most of us did. But I've never, ever harmed anybody. But, so I did a lot of bar hopping before I was 21. By the time I was 21, y'all, I was partied out because I was going to because we even had a club for 18 and older. Now, they didn't sell liquor in there, but you had to be 18 to get in there. So, and that was a club. We had a lot of 18 and older clubs that, I used to go to. But I used to go to the bar because I felt like the bar used to just be jumping. Like, and in a bar, I could drink. I couldn't drink in the club because when you go to the club and you 18 and older, you still got to show ID, but they give you a wristband. They give you a wristband if you're old enough to drink. If you don't got no wristband, you can't drink. So that's why we used to always go to the bar, because once we got in the bar, they ain't do that shit. They just let me in the bar. They never really courted me. So I was able to go to the bar and actually drink liquor. So that's why we stayed in the bar. But by the time I was 21, I was kind of partied out, y'all. So, I always had a job. I had a lot of fun in my 20s. I think 2005, when I was 22, was probably my favorite year in the 2000s. One of my favorite years. Probably if I had to pick, that would probably be the number one year, the number one year on my list. 2005. That was my favorite year. I had just got my license that year. I was working at Temple at their parking area, y'all. At this time, they was paying $6 an hour. Okay, back in 2005. $6 an hour was minimum wage. Yeah. Absolutely not, y'all. $6. So, and this is one of my karmas that I feel like, because, not gonna lie, at $6 an hour, I was really not making no money. And maybe I'm lying, because it might have even been $5.25 an hour. But $5.25 or either $6 an hour. Nonetheless, in 2005, that still was not a lot of money for me. I was literally making like $200 a week. But actually, I was making more than that. I learned their system, and I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I worked for it was a company that had a contract with Temple. I can't remember the name. But y'all, I was killing them. When I say killing them, I was killing them. And I ain't even got to go into detail. I learned their system, and I was killing them. I'm just going to say that. So, you would think somebody making $6 an hour, bringing home $200 a week, you'd be looking at me like, well, how the fuck she do that on that salary? Don't worry about all that. Just know I was killing them. And again, things like that as a kid, like, you do and not everybody. As a kid, sometimes you do stuff, and once you get away with it, you get greedy, okay? You get away with it once and you keep on doing it because it feels good. Okay? But yeah, moving on from that. But, and I just kind of just worked a lot, y'all. This is why I be saying to myself, at this point in my life, I feel like I need to retire. I've had a job since I was 12. I used to go to my dad's job like every weekend, and when he used to go do overtime, he used to take us with him, and we used to work and get paid. Literally get paid. So, I had a job ever since I was 12. By the time I was 18, I was working full time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But y'all, I will say I had fun in my 20s. Literally in my 20s, I had a good time. I went to a lot of parties. Like one of my neighbors, she's a comedian. And she introduced me to a lot of people. When I say a lot of people, like a lot of people in the industry. Like entertainment-wise. We went to so many mansion parties, so many like parties with celebrities. Like I did a lot in my 20s. I met a lot of people in my 20s, and I had a good time. But, as I look on my life now, I'm just like, I guess. It was the thing back then. That wouldn't be my space now. Because I just don't really, people be giving off weird vibes. They do a lot of weird stuff. I don't technically want to be around anybody who's doing any type of drugs that I don't do. Because one thing I don't like, I don't judge. But I also don't want to witness how you react on certain drugs. I don't even like to be around people who can't hold their liquor. Because one thing about me, at the end of the day, I might go outside and get drunk, but you will never, ever, ever see me stumbling out of club looking drunk. I just don't think that's ladylike. I'm sorry. I mean, I just don't feel like that. I'm never going to, because another thing, I just feel like men or just people in general prey off of, people who are inebriated. They see a girl stumbling out the club. They might try to take advantage of her. It won't be me, though. You get what I'm saying? So I just, I just don't put myself in situations to where as though, I don't know, I have to make certain decisions to get out of it. Like, prime example. Well, this is not really an example, but, I lost my train of thought, but I'll come back to that. But anyway, y'all. So, let me see. Where we at? We're in my 20s. Oh, so when I was 26, y'all. So, my mom had got an apartment. So, she already had an apartment, but she also had filled out for, like, Philadelphia Housing Authority, which is, like, low-income housing. And they approved her for an apartment. So, she asked me that I want to live there. I was like, hell yeah, shit, I got my own privacy. And even though, y'all, I was still living in my dad's house. And now, y'all, at this time, I had a girlfriend. Yeah, at this time, I had switched to the other side. But let me put this out there. I have always been attracted to females since I was a teenager. Like, people say, oh, kids don't grow up like in the other sex. That is very much not true. I liked girls at a young age, probably when I was like 12. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew I was attracted to females. Now, I didn't start acting on that until I was like 18. Because even when I was growing up, being gay, liking girls liking the same sex was not a thing. Now, people did it, but they did it more in secret. It wasn't like out there like it is now, or it's been the last couple years. But at this time, I had a girlfriend, and my mom was like, "You want that apartment?" And I was like, "Yeah." Now, mind you, like I said, I ain't have to move out of my dad's house. I just did not like the way my dad lived. My dad is a big ass hoarder. He hoarded papers. He just hoarded a lot of stuff. And I just was like, I can't live like that. But honestly, my dad is the type of person who don't talk about a lot. And I feel like my dad was depressed, y'all. And every day that I think about it, like as I got older, because at the time, again, like depression and people having mental issues, that wasn't a thing back then. So it never dawned on me that my daddy was depressed. And not even that, even if he was, he would have never told me. I could have asked my dad 11 times how he doing, what's wrong with him, talk to me, and he never would have. So again, I wouldn't even know if he was depressed or not. But as I got, as an adult looking back on that time, in my mind now I'm like, damn, my dad probably was really depressed, and this is how this house got like that. This is how it got like that. But anyway, so I moved out at 26, moved into my own little apartment in North Philly, like literally probably like 20 minutes from, not even 20 minutes, I'm lying, maybe like 10 minutes from where I grew up at when I was living in North Philly. So I knew a lot of people in the area, or whatever the case may be. My mom knew a lot of people in the area. My stepmom still lived on the same block I grew up on. So, I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't far. And I wasn't, excuse me, and I wasn't in the area where I didn't know people. So I was cool. I was just in the projects, what we would call the projects. And the best part about it was I ain't live on the ratchet side. I lived on the side where all the older people was, because technically my mom was older and that apartment was supposed to be for her. So they put her on a side where it's a bunch of older people. So it was quiet on my side. Like, I loved that little apartment. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. But I wound up moving out of there because, again, my mama being my mama, she did some stuff, and I just was like, yeah, no, I can't do this no more. So I wound up moving out and finding me a place. But, like, y'all, and to this day, I still have a lot of friends, but I also have a lot of friends that I cut off. And I say I cut them off because I am one of them friends that does any and everything for my friends. I would literally break my neck for my friends because they're my family. Why not? I'm very big on family. Me and my family are very close-knit. So, I get a little sad when I see people tell me how they don't have no family, or they don't mess with their family for this reason or that reason. That is really sad to me. It is, because me and my family are really close, and I don't know what I would do if me and my family wasn't close. I don't know. I don't know what that feels like. Like, we all grew up in the same house. And then once we all moved out of that house, we all lived within blocks of each other. The furthest my uncle lived, or my aunt, the furthest of one of my uncles lived was 15 minutes away from everybody. 15 minutes was the distance, but we all lived in the same facility. So it's hard, to kind of break out of that. The only person who moved out of Philly and, never came back was my uncle. My Uncle Robert. He always lived in Virginia. Once he moved from Philly, he lived in Virginia, and he been living there forever. So, a lot of my friends that I used to be friends with, we're not friends no more because I stopped doing that. I stopped breaking my neck for them. But that's because I also had friends who couldn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Differentiate my friendships with them and my friendships with other people, or my relationships. Like, my one friend, like, me and her not friends no more because I had to whoop her ass. Okay? Let's just put that out there. To the point where, as though, y'all, we were friends since we were... I met her when I was like 13, 14. Now, me and her sister was cool first because me and her sister is around the same age. Her sister is older than her. She's 2 years younger than me. But the reason why I was hanging out with her more was because me and her like to do the same things. At one point in time, her sister just was like, she was just a nigga chaser. Like, she was always with a different nigga. She never, like, hung out with the girls. She just always had niggas, which is fine. That's what you like to do. That's cool. But we like to go out and have fun. So that's why me and her sister got more close than me and her. Me and the older sister. But, I mean, when I tell y'all I bared so much, I endured so much in our 20 plus year friendship that, y'all, the minute we fought and we parted ways, you know how people say, you know, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulder? I physically felt that. When I say, y'all, it was the scariest thing I thought that was just a saying. But I physically felt that. Like, she was my friend, and I love her. And to this day, I don't wish no bad harm on her. But, y'all, at her big age, she's still doing the same things we were doing when we were in our teens and 20s. Getting high, like doing things like that. And like I said, I never did any white substances. I ain't never smoked no crack, snort no powder, do no heroin, none of that shit. But I had, I smoked weed. I had popped a Xanny, but that's prescribed. I popped oxycodone. That's prescribed. I drank syrup. That's prescribed. Like, things like, people abuse them drugs, but a lot of that stuff that I did was prescribed. For the most part. Now, did I take it because it was prescribed to me? No. But it wasn't no street drugs. The only thing that was street was weed. So, and again, she did a lot of things that I didn't indulge in. And again, that was my friend, so I didn't judge. However you get your money is your business. However, whatever type of drugs you decide to do, that is your business. I have nothing to do with that. But I didn't like the way she treated me. Like, she would treat the ones who's only around when she get money to get high with. She would treat them better than me. Now, mind you, she lived with me when I was still living at home with my dad. She also lived with me when I moved to North Philly. Now, when I moved back to North Philly with me and my girlfriend, technically, me and her was not friends. We had stopped being friends. Because I was just like, I'm not doing this back and forth. I don't do back and forth with my friends. We don't argue. We don't, stop speaking to each other. Like, me and her went maybe a year or so without speaking. But that was because she thought I was going to kiss her ass. And call myself, begging for our friendship. No, Buki, I don't need friends. I tell people all the time, having friends is a bonus for me. Because I have a lot of family. I don't need friends. I have way too much family to be mad at somebody not being my friend. Never have, never will. So, and y'all, she used to do weird things like I'll cook dinner. And let me tell y'all something. When I told people me and her had fought, you know what they used to say? Well, damn, I thought y'all been fought a long time ago. Now, if somebody's saying, I thought y'all fought a long time ago, that is some crazy stuff to say. That goes to show that even the people on the outside looking in know what's going on. Like, y'all, you'd have thought me and her were sleeping together. Never touched her a day in my life. I would never. Because I knew the type of stuff that she got into. So, it's no way I would ever. But yet and still, she used to do weird stuff like, I would cook dinner. And if I didn't make her plate, now listen to what I'm saying. We never mess with each other. One thing I don't do is lie. If I hit it, I would have told you. But I didn't. Because another thing I don't do is, I don't understand how people say, oh, my first time was with my best friend. That's disgusting. To me. I never, ever, 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 And all of my friends is bad. They ain't ugly, but I never looked at them in a like sexually. They my sisters. Why would I look at my sisters like that? Never. So when people be like, "Oh, my first girl on girl experience was with my best friend," I'm like, that's weird to me. I would never. Never. But anyway, I used to make dinner, y'all, and if I didn't make her plate, she would go and order food. And I'm like, what? So because I didn't make your food, but I cooked the food, but I didn't make your plate, you don't want to eat? Okay, well, I don't have nothing to do with that. That's between you and your stomach. But that was just weird to me. That was a red flag right there. But I didn't pay it no mind because, again, normally, just naturally, when I cook, I would just make plates. Because I'm a nurturer at heart. Like, I take care of people. So, when I didn't do it, you were mad? I was just like, that is so weird. But I'm just like, okay, well, if you want to go buy food, that's you and your money. I don't have nothing to do with that. But I'm not making a plate. I don't have to. Like, I just don't have to do that. And she didn't know how to separate my relationships, like relationships that I had with men. She didn't know how to separate that from our friendship. Like, she didn't understand how she could not be included in every single thing. I don't treat all my friends the same because they're all not the same. How can I do that? And they're all different people. You can't get what that person get. You're not her. And she didn't understand that. She wanted to be included in everything. No, I have other friends. And none of my other friends liked her. She was just too much. They literally only dealt with her because of me. Literally only dealt with her because of me. But this last particular time, this was like 2015, y'all. And mind you, I've been at this apartment for a while, since I was 26. So 2014. It's 2014. And before 24. So I'm not gonna go back that far, but this is 2014 when we stopped being friends. But prior to that, her uncle came to me and was like, "Hey, can she come stay with you?" Now, on the strength of her uncle, only reason why I did it. Not only that, but because we also had a cruise that her uncle had paid for us to go on. So, I'm like, all right, well, once this cruise over, she gotta go. That's just how it was. But in the midst of her staying, we got back cool. But again, she doing a whole bunch of shit that I just don't indulge in. And honestly, at the time, I was going to hair school and I was working. So I was barely home or whatever. But again, she was staying there. So she was always there. Like, I literally had my neighbors coming telling me that I had people running in and out my house all day. Now, mind you, before she was staying there, I was by myself. Them people didn't know me. They see me coming and going. Either going to school or going to work. That's what they seen. They were literally telling me that it was people running in and out my place. One day I came home from school. I had to go to the bathroom so bad, y'all. And I was skipping the steps. I came up the steps and I seen people in my bedroom sitting on my bed. People that I didn't know. Yo, do you know? Listen, mind you, the guy that was in my room sitting on my bed, he wound up being my boyfriend later on down the line. But he told me, he said, when you came up them steps and you looked in that room, he said, I knew this was your place. He said, because the look on your face said it all. He said, she made it seem like this was her place. He said, but the look on your face said it all when you came up them steps. And when I came out the bathroom, I said, yeah, everybody got about 5 minutes to get out my place. And I was not playing. Because why y'all even sitting in somebody's house on their bed with your nasty ass street clothes on? It's a whole living room with a couch. Why y'all in here? It was a mess. But anyway, You know, it got to the point. So that same boyfriend, that same guy that was sitting in my room that day, me and him wound up, you know, dealing with each other a little bit. And honestly, it was just something to do. I don't even call him my boyfriend. It was just something to do at the time. But this one particular day, like, she used to be mad at me for stupid stuff. Like, I don't have to come pick you up if I don't want to. Figure out how you're going to get here. I don't have to come get you. At this point in time, I didn't even have a car. I had my mom's car this particular day. She gave me her car because I had something to do. And she asked me to come get her, and I told her no. So when she got there, now mind you, my boyfriend asleep at the time. So she want to come in there and start yelling and stuff like that. He like, yo, like, why are you coming in here yelling? You see I'm asleep. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's rude as hell. Yo, when I said she was going back and forth. Now, mind you, even when I used to leave him there, and go to school and shit like that, he used to call me and tell me how they used to be arguing. And I used to tell her, like, first of all, when I got a problem with your friends, I don't argue with them. I come tell you so you can check your friends. Don't ever argue with my nigga and I'm not around. Because she never did it in front of me. She only did it when I wasn't around. So I thought that was kind of weird. And I'm like, yeah, she probably one of the ones that just, she probably like him, or I wouldn't be surprised if she had already fucked him, y'all. I'm be honest. I would not have been surprised if I found that out, but I did. And nonetheless, I don't really care. But that particular day, she going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. She doing a whole lot. And at that point, I was at my breaking point, y'all. I was done with her. Literally done with her. And she was just like, oh. So she called her uncle. Like, oh, come get me. I need to leave here, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, you know, you can leave. And then, mind you, she going in and out the closets, getting her stuff. Coming back and forth from my room. I was like, you don't have nothing in here. You don't have nothing in my closet. She was like, let me check, because if I got something in here, I said, and if you got something in here, what you gonna do? Nothing but get it out. But you don't have nothing in here. She going back and forth. Y'all, when I tell you, I blacked out, because all I remember was her sitting on the phone, and she just was still talking shit. And literally everything she ever did to me just took over my body. And I blacked out, y'all. When I say I blacked out, I blacked out. Fighting, y'all. I'm talking about scrapping. To the point where, though, one thing about her, this is how I knew she got high. Because I felt like she was like on one of them crackhead highs where she never got tired. She always wanted to keep fighting, especially because she was losing. She wanted to always keep fighting. I'm like, girl, all right, it's over. Like, we for, you know, keep it going. Keep going, whatever. No, she want to keep fighting, child. My mom had to come. She disrespected my mom. Now, she lucky because my mom don't care. She'll fight anybody. She don't give a damn. She was being disrespectful to my mom, or whatever the case may be. Mind you, my boyfriend had his kids there. And she done picked up a knife, called herself trying to cut me. Y'all, I got a scar on my forehead because she threw a pair of curlers. Like, when I went to go open the door, she had curlers in here. And as soon as I opened the door, she threw them. And that shit cracked me right on my head. I got a scar on my forehead because of that. And I blacked out again, y'all. Blacked out again. She even put hands on a guy that I was dealing with. Now, at the end of the day, he ain't never beat my ass, but he definitely hemmed her up that day. Now, he ain't beat her up, but he definitely grabbed her up, because she definitely put her hands. Not only did she put her hands on him, but she also threw a knife in the room where the kids was at. His two sons was literally in that room. And she picked up that knife and threw that knife in there. Like, why would you do that while his kids in here? She had no regards. So when she did that, he snapped. He snapped, and he didn't beat her up. I had to tell him no, but he put her ass in the tub. I'm sorry, y'all. He definitely put her in the tub. But it was a disaster. Like, I never in my lifetime had to fight not one of my friends. Not one. The back and forth with the arguing and you being mad because I'm not doing something for you, like, that's weird. It was weird to me. It was becoming very weird. So I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this no more. That was it for me. Y'all, now mind you, she know me and she know my family. She even came to my house one day. Now mind you, I'm in the house sleep, all the lights off. I hear somebody banging on my door. Like, yeah, I know you in there. You need to come out, blah, blah, blah. And one thing about me, I ain't scary, but I'm also not stupid. She didn't know if I was in there or not because all the lights was off and I literally was in there asleep. So I just let her keep banging. I hear her and her friends, there's probably like 3 or 4 of them outside. Now, I could have easily got on the phone and said, yeah, I got 4 bitches outside my door. I need y'all to come here. And it would have been, I promise y'all, when my aunt and them would have pulled up and my cousins would have pulled up, they would have been like, oh, no, we just here getting her stuff. No, but just a minute ago, y'all was banging, talking about, yeah, bitch, I know you in there. So I never opened it. I wanted to open that door so bad, but like I said, I'm not dumb. I didn't know if they had weapons or not, and it was just me. Had I opened that door without calling nobody, who knows what would have happened to me. So I didn't open the door. But that day she came to get her stuff from my house, and one of the girls that was with her that day happened to be with her. Oh, baby, when they came to my door, I said, now, what was you saying the other day when we was knocking on my door? I said, what was y'all saying? Y'all know I was in there? What's up now? Oh, no, it wasn't like that. We just was trying to get her stuff. No, that's not what y'all was saying on the outside of that door. Because I heard y'all. I was in the house. That's not what y'all was saying. Y'all was real tough. Nobody had nothing to say. Nobody wanted to fight. At all. So, my mom was just like, no, chill. Just leave it alone, whatever. So I left it alone. But, baby, one thing about me, I'm always down to scrap if I need to. We can definitely get it in. Like, I ain't never, ever been a punk. But one thing I never, ever did either was bother anybody. Every fight I had was because somebody bothered me. Every last one of them. I just don't believe in... I don't like that. I don't like fighting. I don't like being provoked either. So, like, that 20-plus year friendship went down the drain. And people understand. Friendship breakups are just as hard as relationship breakups. When you think about all the stuff that you did together, like all the fun you had, things like that. Like, to the point, y'all, one thing about me is I never volunteer information. She might have been one of my close friends, but she knew nothing about me. Nothing. And you know, prime example why? Because when we were fighting and stuff like that, she just was spewing out, mind you, lies. Oh, you did this and you did that and you did this. And I'm like, no, I didn't. She had nothing to say about me, for real, because I never gave her a reason to. I never told her my business. Anything that I did it. I don't have to tell you what I did, because it's really none of your business. If I choose to tell you, that's because maybe I'm a little bit too hype, or I just want you to know something so we can have a conversation about it. But technically speaking, I never told her anything, because she always gave me, if I'm ever mad at you, I'm going to tell everybody your business. She gave that. So that's one thing about me I don't do. I don't tell everybody my business, because you will never get a chance to throw that shit back in my face. So no. So yeah, that, like I said, that 20-plus year friendship went down the drain. And to this day, in 2024, 10 years later, she's still doing the same stuff, y'all. Still getting high as a giraffe's ass. And she ain't just smoking no weed. Like, so just imagine if I was still friends with her. No, I don't want that type of energy. Like, at what point in your life do you say, oh, enough is enough? You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, y'all. So that was basically my early, late teen years, early 20s, late 20s. But I really didn't do much. I literally was just a kid, always been a girl's girl, always liked to have fun, get dressed, do my hair, things like that, learn how to do makeup. Like, I mean, I just was a girly girl, and I just liked to have fun. Y'all, to the point where I used to go out every weekend and be out all night and still get up. I'll be out all night till it's time for me to go to work. I used to do it all the time. Then call on God and say, God, get me through this. I'll never do it again. And turn right around and do it on Saturday. All the time. But yeah, y'all. I'm just saying, I'll be back with part 3. That's probably going to be the final part. Maybe be 3 and 4. But I'll be back with part 3. And here we are, guys, with the final look. These nails came out super cute. I thank you guys for joining my Getting to Know Danny K series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to put those notification bells on to get notified when I post more videos. And I will be back in a little bit with episode 3 of Getting to Know Me. Bye.